Hello, Nassim. I am Sixtilio Dalmau. I'm from Lima, Peru. First of all, I would like to apologize my English because it's not my first language. So I will try to do my best with my few English that I know, so I can explain to you thinkings I have come together in my mind along the years. I have been watching your videos with the full presentation when you explain all your history starting when you was young. In some way, I have identified myself in you at the same time, at the same age. And when you were explaining about the dimensions, about the teacher in school, at that time I had a similar experience. I was around 4 or 5 years old, and one day I was already in bed, but my bed was aside the window that looks outside the garden of my house. So I was looking outside in this way, and suddenly I closed my eyes for just an instant, and the next second when I opened the eyes it was already day. So it makes me very how can I say, it was very special, because it was night and a second later it was day. Obviously I slept deeply, but my feelings regarding the event creates me at that age the curiosity to know and to understand time, because it was just a fraction of a time that I just closed my eyes and opened, and all the night went through in a second. So along my life I have been researching and trying to understand time. I have studied physics at the university. I know regarding the theory of relativity and most of other studies, but I tried from the very beginning to remain in myself and try not to contaminate my thinkings with things that were already in the books. So when you explain in your video about your teacher when you were 10, and that he started speaking about dimensions and what you expected from him, and how frustrated you became later when you got that the teacher didn't tell you what you was waiting for him to explain. So and later you have go on with all these geometric studies with the tetrahedron and all your theory, which I find very interesting. And after seeing all your video, which lasts around 8 hours, I feel that I have something that can accomplish in your studies and comes from another point of view, because what I see is that you have tried to understand the universe from defining space, and along my life I have made the same, but I have tried to define time. So I know that in some way everything is moving in the universe, but there is also what is singularity. So each of us are in a special singularity, and our point of view are unique. So saying that at that time when I was a kid, I was trying to understand the movements in linear. So you go from a point A to a point B in a distance, but this is in this along the time. Speed has been identified as light as the fastest speed that is in the universe in the linear movement. So I started thinking myself, what happens if I start turning my finger around the circle and go every time faster and faster? So you can see this generates a lot of figures in my eye. That is, I'm traveling around a finite distance because I come back to the same point where I start. So my thinkings when I was a kid was saying, is there infinite angular rotation speed in a unit of time, or is it a limit? The same as when you see in the linear movement. So I start guessing that if there should be a time, a moment, when I can go no more faster because I am creating a lot of figures around the circle, so I am going to fulfill all the spaces. And I thought, and what happens if I reach that limit, and after reaching the limit I go faster in rotations, angular movement. So at that moment I view that something was broken, so that I can be a second in the future, and if I go faster I can be more seconds in the future, because I have the same as a speed, light as a speed limit in the linear movement. In the angular speed, there is also, in my theory, what I have identified is that it is a limit. So nobody speaks about that. Everything is expressed in the linear but not in the angular. So when you see the sky in the night and you see the stars, we know now that it takes some time for the light to travel in space, and when we see the stars, we are seeing the past where they were regarding the distance that the light has traveled in space. So at the same time, going in the other level, I think that at the level of the microcosmos, the microcosmos is in the future regarding my theory of rotating. There is a limit speed or in the angular speed. So, and after that I have understand also, or come to the idea that time flows from each point of the universe as a singularity, which when I have seen your presentation and you speak about the black holes and that all around are black holes, I agree with you, because every point in space is a singularity of a special time of flowing. So for me, time flows like a bubble that inflates in space constantly. From each point in space there is like a bubble that goes out. So nobody has expressed this possibility that there is a limit in the angular movement. So when you see C as the concept of light, is the speed is 299,000 kilometers per second, and if you go C square, which is maximum of energy that can be liberated, which is the famous equation of Einstein, we have a concept that we have C and C squared. But the opposite, and here comes what you speak about, the inverse tetrahedron, that you have one in one position and the other opposite. So the opposite of C is, in my concept, is a square of C, and the C square would be square root of C, root of C. So we have, and I will try to show you in a paper, I hope this looks for the camera, where we have here in the middle we have the present, above we have C with the linear speed of light, we have C squared, which expresses the maximum on energy, and aside you can see the word that says past. So when we look at the stars, we are seeing the past. But if we go in the other direction, we can make a root of C, and there is something special there because the root of C is 17,314, and there you can see that 314 is pi. So pi is involved in the number of the root of C, and the root of C shows 132, which are the 132 elements that we can find in nature, which is the minimum or less energy. So nobody, and I have been looking all around, has created this concept of doing the opposite of say C, root of C, and from C squared root of C. So when we see here, we see the future. When we are in the present, observing in the middle, and we go in the macro, we observe the past. So this, in my opinion, is something that nobody has done or get in a concept, and that's why I think that the findings that I have developed match your idea on explaining how everything happens in the universe. So time flows. You speak about space. Now I'm adding to your idea the word time. So it's not only black holes, because you're speaking about space, it's also time flowing from each point of the universe out as a bubble, and the bubbles goes from all around, and when they cross, they do the molecular effect because they are interacting. So all the nature, what we see in chemistry, is in a sequence from the bubble that is growing and is crossing to other bubbles. In the moment they cross, and that the string, the part that is to get together, explains how time flows from every point of the universe. So your concept about the dimensions, your concept about how space is defined, I think at the same time with my idea of saying that there is this limit for angular speed, and nobody has right now said that, because they say you can ever go faster, the spin is infinite. So why is infinite? When we understand that in life there is limit all around. So if we figure that it is a possibility that there is a limit in the angular speed, and that we can go into the future, because this faster and faster is occupying the same place. So all the microcosmos is in the future regarding to us. So this is what I wanted to explain, and this is why I have made this little video. I am from Lima, Peru. I would like to get in contact with you in a more convenient way, so I can debate or share with you these thinkings, which I think that is the complement of all your theory. I think that we have reached a new understanding of the universe. I think that your work regarding dimensions match with the concept of time, as with this new limit in angular speed that can explain how everything flows from the micro to the macro. I think we have arrived to something very spectacular, because once we understand that all the atoms are in the future, we can, at least what I have identified is that there is a lot of way of healing people that is sick. For example, when you apply radiation in the body, the radiation affects the person in the future. It's not in the moment that is receiving the radiation, but is a way to penetrate in their time in the future. So I think this is a first communication I'm doing with you, and I hope that you find interesting what I am explaining in a very short way, in a bad English, because it's not my mother language. But I think that your concept regarding dimensions, which is space, and if we add the concept of time with the angular the speed limit as a concept, and that time flows from each point of the universe as a bubble permanently, explains what you are trying to show to the world. So I think my little how can I say, what I'm sharing with you complements your theory, because I, from the very beginning, and I have identified myself with you, I think both of us, we have been very logic from our childhood to now. This is what I wanted to share, and I hope that you find interesting this that I have communicated to you. So basically, what I'm saying is that in the concept of your tetrahedron, when you show it this way, there is another opposite. So, which is the one that is looking up is c and c squared, and the one that is opposite is root of c and root of c. So in one side we have linear limit speed, and the other side we have angular limit speed. And with this concept, we can explain almost everything that you are trying to explain in this unified field theory. Okay, so I thank you very much for the time you have taken to listen to me, and I hope to be in contact with you in the close future. Thank you very much. Goodbye.